Hey kiddos, so Mimzy and Poppy and Aunt Lori and Uncle Jeff are riding the C&O Canal, and we are at an aqueduct, the Monocacy Aqueduct. And down inside of here, years ago, about 200 years ago, they would have barges go through there, but sometimes where the barges would go in the canal, the C&O Canal, go over water. So they would build an aqueduct. The C&O Canal was actually constructed starting in 1828 in Georgetown, which is in the District of Columbia, and it ends in Cumberland, Maryland, and that was finished in the summer of 1850. The C&O Canal system includes 11 aqueducts like this, and the barges, would be filled with water, and the barges would be pulled through to continue on their way. The C&O Canal is actually the most intact canal resource of the 36 major canals that were constructed in the United States. This is one of the many locks that are on the towpath. This is one of the former locks. It actually has a little bit of stagnant water sitting in the bottom. And we'll see if we can show you where the lock gates would have been, but the boats would come in, the barges would come in, the gates would be shut, the lock would then be filled with water from the upstream water, and the boat would be released. And the opposite would be true of going downhill. So this is part of the old canal. As we go on the towpath, Potomac River is off to one side. And this was an efficient way of bringing people and goods and materials up and down the Potomac River. They were able to control the flow of the water, the tide of the water. The trail that we rode on, the towpath that we rode on, is hard-packed gravel. It was just a absolutely fantastic ride. This is an electric power plant. The power plant's discharge water, the cooling water that comes out of that power plant, has now been diverted into a kayaking and whitewater training course that's used for Olympic whitewater kayakers. Here we continue on the path. We had beautiful weather during the 2 days that we rode the towpath. Beautiful weather. We didn't see any snakes or anything along the way. We saw a bunch of turtles and some blue herons. We saw deer, and we saw a bunch of squirrels. But the ride was absolutely fantastic. It's got some incredible historic significance. This is White's Ferry. Up until a couple of years ago, that ferry that's in the background was actually used, and you could take your car, you could take your bike, you could walk across it. And these are some fishermen who had just fantastic fishing kayaks set up. So there's the ferry barge, and the ferry barge would be taken across the river. And like I said, it was operational up until a few years ago. So here is an old bridge going across what would have been the canal. So you can see that lower portion there would have been filled with water. That would have been the canal. And that was an old bridge that went across the canal. We stopped here because of the tree. It is just a big, enormous tree. But what you see there is the lock. It's an old lock. They filled it in with dirt because the lock itself was caving in. And there's one of the lock gates, some of the iron from one of the lock gates. But to preserve the lock from completely eroding, they filled it in with dirt. What a great idea. You can see some of the iron straps that kept the stones together. And all of these stones, hand cut and hauled there, they were taken from a local quarry. Here's one of the turtles in one of the swampier parts of the ride. Now, of course, our towpath was fully dry, but a lot of cool things to look at. There's one of the parts of the canal that had some water in it. The whole canal was not wet. Some parts of it were dry. This part just happened to have water in it. And with the leaves and the pollen and stuff coming off of the trees, that actually changed the color of it. Some of it's red, some of it's a little brownish looking, some of it's green. But interesting to watch nonetheless.
You don't see me.
You don't see me standing here.
There's some little fish.
Yeah. Well, really bad.
Yeah?
Yeah. I bet you this was a big fish. Those guys were fishing back there in this mess.
Taking a picture of the house.
Yeah. So we finished out the day with packing up our bikes and putting them into the back of the truck and heading back to the campground and doing what you always do at the campground, had a bonfire. And what did we roast at the bonfire? Twinkies. Because if you put Twinkies over the fire, they get fantastically golden brown. And then if you put some fresh strawberries on your toasted Twinkies, it's kind of like a camping strawberry shortcake. So we had a good time. And that is exactly how we finished out a fantastic weekend.